Hi, everybody. I'm painfully aware of standing between you and lunch, so that was the reason for my chewing. Very nice to be here today. I think my fellow speakers have done an excellent job of laying the landscape of open science and what's happening and what needs to happen still. I come from CSC, like Damien. I work as service manager in a group called Research Data Management Services. And I work in the National Initiative for Open Science and Research, so I'm trying to give you a brief introduction of what national activities and resources are available in this area. So the very basic details of the initiative are here. You can find more information on the Avoin Tiede and Open Science web pages. The initiative was set forth by the Ministry of Education and Culture, and it builds on the previous National Research Data Initiative. And the basic idea is to further open science in Finland. That goes for publications, research data, and methods, which have all been discussed here. Some of them may be in different stages of maturity. As Joona explained, that this movement was really pushed forward towards the open publication phase, and then came data, and then methods may be still lagging a bit behind, even though they are tied into both. And really what we try to do as part of the initiative is to build a network in Finland of researchers, universities, research institutes, research funders, and drive that cultural change. And of course that needs practical tools, knowledge on the subject. So on the website, some of the very grassroots things that are happening and that should be of interest, I hope, is the training that is ongoing. And on that address, you can find details of the Open Science and Research Handbook that we have put out. There's a version in English, and then there are multiple versions in Finnish that are continually updated, and you can be involved in that work if you want to. There is training activity coordinated by the National Library in Finland. It started this fall. It is right now in Finnish. And I encourage you to look at the full training program on the Finnish side if that's possible for you. For example, the day after tomorrow, there is a session on how to plan for openness, how to account for openness when you plan your research project. And then the next session in November is how to open your data. So very practical, from 2 hours to half-day sessions with experts that some of them have spoken here and will be involved in the workshops in the afternoon. All of the training material is licensed openly and is available on the website for self-study and reuse, should you so choose. So the slides and the videos that are made in the training sessions. There is also, in addition to the handbook from the previous initiative, there is the data management guide that offers very practical information, for example, how to license research data, there are recommendations, and so on. So I encourage you to take a look at that. Another type of resource that we offer in the initiative are the services, following along the lines of the last few presentations. All these services are continuously developed, and new ones are piloted within the initiative. For example, right now there's a project ongoing for creating a tool in Finland for making your data management plan based on the benchmarks that we have in the UK, for example, where this has worked out very well. So when the Academy of Finland requires you to submit a data management plan, what are you supposed to write? What kind of guidance could your organization give you, and so on. So we're trying to see if some kind of centralized form of guidance in the form of a very practical tool would help out on the national level. The development work that is being done is done open source as much as possible and based on open source tools provided by others. Here I've gathered the services that are data services under the umbrella of all the services. Some are oriented more towards publications, but given my title, I focused here on the data services. And I tried to map them, but of course that's always a very tricky, so this is a fuzzy mapping, just to show you that some services portrayed here just by the logos are oriented more towards storage of research data, while others may focus on identifiers and metadata resources. Some are oriented towards making sure that these data and metadata are discoverable, may be found by others. And then if the data can be open, what sorts of publishing functionalities are needed, and if it's not completely open, how do you define how to share it with and who has rights to it. And the reason some services are on the left is because these are what we call shared services. So those are generic services in the way that they're not tied into some field of study or field of science. First, there's EDA, that is the National Storage Service for Research Data, where every researcher, where every university has their quota, and everybody funded by the Academy of Finland can have a quota. So that is storage service provided on the national level for the universities, which then can assign quota to researchers based on applications. Then there's Finto, that is the National Ontology Service that offers ontologies and thesauri for reuse. You can submit your own vocabulary, have it maintained there, and offer it via interfaces for others to use in their services, for example. Etsin is the data finder service that we have in Finland that enables you to find what data sets are available, and you can describe your own data set there for others to access the metadata and the data, should you so choose. And AVA is a publishing platform for open research data that holds applications and interfaces for open research data. On the right-hand side, we have repositories and services in specific fields. For example, the Finnish Social Sciences Science Data Archive that Tuomas spoke about, and then Kielipankki, the language bank of Finland that offers language corpora and tools for scientists working in that field. And so we have the catch-all services on the left and the extended services for certain fields on the right that have the curation and the sort of human aspect rather than self-service with, of course, user assistance as we always do. But for example, in the creation of metadata, it's always better if you have a functioning archive within your field with that specialized service to first, that's your first candidate always. And then we work on the interoperability between the national services and the field-specific services. Here's a view of Etsin at etsin.avointiede.fi, just to show you how these services complement each other. It already popped up in Tuomas' slide. This is just to show you that we launched Etsin at the end of last year. Now there are about 1,500 descriptions of data sets. And some of them hail from the different repositories. So if your data resides at FSD or at Kielipankki, it is also discoverable to Etsin. It can also come from IDA, the storage service that we have. Some of the descriptions that we have come from Finto, the ontology, so we don't make up our own keywords, but rather reuse existing ontologies. And in Etsin, you can find the metadata that's open for all, licensed under CC0, actually not licensed, but we've renounced all the rights that we can renounce. And then at the data owner's discretion, if they so choose, it can be completely open, or you could make an access request to the data, and it can be available through multiple platforms, including Aila and Ava. Very quickly, some benefits of these services. They're continuous services by a trusted provider. CSC is a company, but we're a non-profit, state-owned company, so not making any profit out of that. They're free of charge, funded by the Ministry of Education and Culture, and they comply with the rules and guidelines of the Academy of Finland, and are named specifically in the guidelines. Maybe the one thing that we have right now that differentiates us from other services are the large data volume. So if you work in a field where you really need large storage capacity, that is available in IDA through you in this service portfolio. Of course, there are the typical benefits of discoverability and ability to link and cite and things like that. I warmly welcome you to the workshop on how to choose your repository at 2 p.m. I think we're in this room. And you can ask me more about these services there. Here are, again, the links to the service websites, and that's the contact email, so feel free to send any email there. It will land in my inbox in addition to other people's, so no worries.